probably the thing that interests me the most, because I'm someone that loves like entrepreneurs. Like I'm someone that's trying to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And when you reached out to me, I think it was on YouTube in the comment section, I
Hmm.
stumbled across your website, beyondlivingcoaching.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
So
That's correct.
when did this whole business idea start, and when did you create the website?
So, well, the website has only been up for 2 months, I think, and the business idea in general started about a year ago. So it's been like a way longer journey than like the actual website itself.
Oh, I see. So how did like I'm super interested in always how people start. Like what
Mhm.
was the initial inspiration for you and to get into all this type of stuff? Not just as an entrepreneur, but just in the sense of trying to help and improve other people's lives. Like when did this whole journey start?
Okay, we should probably go a bit further back than last year then. So,
Let's go. Let's go all the way
um,
back, bro.
okay, sounds good. So, how far do you want to go? Like, I'll probably just start at the beginning. That makes a lot of
Sure,
sense.
go for it. I
So,
love to
okay,
listen.
so I had like a pretty shitty childhood. I moved around a lot, and like my parents basically broke up when I was two. That made me like very invisible at my youth, and I was always like very shy and really socially awkward. That led up like for like a long time in my life, and what was funny was like eventually I got into weightlifting. That's really where a big shift in basically my identity started to happen. So I got like way more confident and just started to open up socially. And from there, because I got pretty good at the lifting and I was like obsessed with it, because I was just, back then it was still like bodybuilding forums and like you can really, nowadays you can just, it's like mainstream. But I got started right before that shift happened. And I just really got into it and wanted to help other people. So how it started was actually like helping other people reach their physical goals. So I started doing that like with strength coaching online and also like being a fitness trainer. So I was doing that
Mm.
for quite some time. But that still really didn't like satisfy me basically. So I was doing like different things and that on the side as well. And eventually my dad actually sent me a book of a high performance coach. Um, so that's what I'm doing now for the audience, but we'll get to that. So basically, the book my dad gave me was from a high performance coach, and his name is Roberto Ilan. He is very well known in the Netherlands. He works with like famous like celebrities there and like CEOs and lots of entrepreneurs. So I started really devouring his book, and his book was like really what I needed at the time because it showed me a lot of different things, like basically how the position that you're currently in your life is like the result of the actions that you have taken previously, which kind of makes sense, but also not really, because if you feel like life is out of your control, you just do what society tells you to do basically, and you end up in whatever situation, whatever randomization happens basically. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So that really gave me like the insight that like I could change things basically for my life, and I really wanted to change things. And like even when I was like 8 years old, I knew I wanted to be successful. But like what I actually was doing was playing video games, like like 100 hours a
Mm.
week.
Yeah, well, that don't we all? Don't we all? Right?
Yeah.
That was me too, bro.
Mm. Yeah.
I like them. You know what's interesting
Mm.
about the weightlifting stuff? That's how I got into this whole self development world thing. It was because
Mm.
I don't know exactly when I got into lifting, because I was someone that hated the gym. I hated exercise. I had no interest in bench pressing or squatting or deadlifting.
Mhm.
Like, when you're in high school and you sort of have like part of your gym class, and you go to the gym and you'll lift the weights, and I had zero interest. The only thing I liked to do physically was basketball and maybe a little bit of like track and field. But for
Mhm.
whatever reason, when I got older, and I'm a lot older than most people, most content creators on YouTube. I'm in my 30s. I'm 37. But when
Yeah, you
I
look like like N20s.
I look younger, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But
good stuff.
when I found fitness, it was like a lot later in life for me. It was in
Mhm.
my very late 20s, and I loved it. Like I absolutely loved it. And it wasn't just the enjoyment of the routine and lifting the weights, but it was
Mhm.
this very strange self-confidence you gain in yourself when
Yeah.
you build a better, healthier, and stronger body. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, this feels like a miracle solution to so many of my self-confidence problems as an introverted person. And I
Yeah.
used to be shy, I used to have fears of public speaking and all this stuff, but it wasn't until I got into fitness it completely changed my life. And I was like, man, I want to tell people about this. It's like a secret that people should just hit the gym, and it makes everything so much better in your life. And I
Yeah.
always find this very consistent whenever I talk to other entrepreneurs or content creators is the importance of fitness and
Mhm.
how it can affect everything in your life if you just spend a little time every week going to the gym and taking care of your health. And I don't
For
know if
sure.
it resonated with you in the same way that it did with me.
I feel it in my soul. Like I used to hate like when I was in elementary school, I used to literally like hide in the storage rooms basically, and like not do like the sessions basically that we were like the rest of the class was doing, and just because I was always like getting hit with balls and stuff. Like I felt like a magnet for like getting hit in the face with whatever ball there was and stuff, and I wanted to just hide. And so I was like very much against like physical activity, and then like just like you, I really did not want to do it, but I was like super weak and I couldn't like even bench the barbell, and like it was, and I was just getting bullied a bit, not really bullied, but more like pushed around a bit, and wanted to change that. And yeah, just that tiny like the physical stuff you do, it's way more mental than physical actually. So yeah,
Hmm.
would highly recommend.
Yeah, it's something like it changes your mind in a way that, for whatever reason, like especially for me when I first started bench pressing, for example,
Mhm.
I had the bar and I had two 25 pounds. So that's what, like 95 pounds. And all my
Mhm.
friends were benching, no problem. And one of my friends, that was like his warm up set. And I tried to do one rep and the bar got stuck on my chest. And then everyone laughed at me. Like all my friends were like, "Oh my god, dude, you're so weak. Like you can't even bench 95 pounds. Like that's horrible." Because like my body weight at the time was like 150, I
Mhm.
think. So that's like two thirds of my body weight. I couldn't bench press, and it
Yeah.
was embarrassing. And it almost, I don't want to say that it hurt my feelings, but I felt kind of sad and I felt very inferior to my friends as a man,
Mhm.
because this is something that I should be able to do. Like we're talking about age of 27 and I can't bench 95 pounds. Like that's pathetic, right? And when I was determined to get better and improve. And like you said, it wasn't just like a physical transformation. It was like almost as if my mind changed. And then it went from like fitness to meditation to journaling to cold showers to fasting. And then like I just got engulfed in this whole idea of self-development. I was like, man, I want to share all this information with people, even though it's very strange. Like normal people don't do this kind of stuff, right? And a lot of people despise going to the gym, but it's hard to convince, people that take their health seriously, right? I don't know if you've had that
Yeah.
same problem where you live, because you live in Europe, right?
Used to. Actually, I moved
Oh yeah,
to
used to. You
like
moved.
Georgia like since January, end of January. So, but
Mm.
yeah, I grew up in Switzerland and Netherlands.
Oh, in
So
Switzerland. Oh, I've been to Switzerland. I went skiing there once. Switzerland is dope,
yeah,
but
yeah,
everything's
very very beautiful.
expensive there.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my god. Wait, so do you still do the personal training now or no?
Not really. Like I might help like friends with it and stuff, and it's sort of part of my training as well now. But it's more a extension of the physical or the mental training because yeah, like it's very effective for working on your mental as well. But the mental training comes first, basically.
Okay, I see. So when you were doing all this stuff,
Mhm.
did you have like a secondary career or job, or like were you going to university or school while you're doing all this stuff, or was this like your main focus?
I was actually in university up until like 2 months ago. I was doing
Oh
everything at the same
wow.
time, so I was like doing personal training. Then I was still doing personal training at like very cool gym, and I was studying human movement sciences. and I was setting up this business and getting certified in like high performance coaching. So
Wow, that's impressive, man. You're young.
yeah, but
How old are you?
I those are the tools. That's what I'm learning to be, efficient. I'm 22.
22. Wow. So what's that? You're born 99?
Yeah.
Wow. See, this is what I love about the internet and YouTube and this podcast. So many people that I've talked to on this podcast have been 19, 20, 21, and it's like the perspective that you guys have at your age is unbelievable, because when I was 21, all I did was watch the NBA, played StarCraft, and played basketball in the park, and that was it. I didn't do nothing. I ate like pizza and McDonald's and candy all day long. It was like I didn't even have any type of self-realization or self-actualization when it comes to just being introspective and thinking about my life. 'Cause I didn't even think about anything. I didn't care about like starting a business or trying to better myself. But this is what I love about the internet and the younger generation, because it's weird, because it almost inspires me, right? Like when I hear about the youth that are like going after things, and not just following the conventional way, to success when it comes to getting like a corporate 9 to 5 job, because that's
also
something
not success.
yeah, it's like
fake
that's
news.
something that I did, and I hated it, right? So I'm glad that we had this conversation.
Yeah. No, definitely. Like it's just like the internet is like, it is like two sides. It basically, you could make your life amazing with it, and you can make your life horrible with it. And I feel like, and especially like the access that we have currently, for sure. Like if I didn't have the internet, I'd end up exactly the same, or probably worse, like seeing where I was at previously. So for sure.
Oh, that's cool. What other do you have any other habits or disciplines that you follow on like a regular basis?
A whole lot.
You have a lot? All right,
I have a
let me
whole
know.
lot.
Let me know.
Okay, so morning routine. You wanna just go through my day?
Oh yeah, let's do it. I love
Okay.
morning routines.
Cool. Okay, so wake up, coffee with a whole bunch of, like, you probably shouldn't even take coffee, but I love my coffee. So whole bunch of butter in it. That helps. So I'll just quickly share like the research behind it. So basically, it's like good for your happiness, I'm pretty sure, because it really is kind of like ketones. Not entirely sure on that side, but the more important thing is that it slows down the absorption of the caffeine. So it basically the spike of it is like less high, so your crash is less. And also the cortisol buildup that you get from taking caffeine early in the morning, it becomes less basically. So yeah, highly advisable.
Oh, that's cool. Is that like the bulletproof style coffee with MCT oil, that type of thing?
Yeah, that's like how you should do it, but I just do regular like store butter, nothing special.
So do you follow a keto diet?
No, but I do, like recently I actually tried to start eating more fat, because what I've also noticed, and this is more like a high performance thing, like if you start your day with like high amounts of carbohydrates, and you just start feeding your body with all of this like glucose, basically your glucose goes up and then it goes down and goes up and down, and you have that through the entire day, and it just leads to like energy dips. And what you want is to start the day off already just high in fat basically and protein, and just all the way up until your workout, and only then start taking some carbohydrates, or even later at night at dinner or something, or completely keto. But yeah, I eat like a whole lot of calories, so that doesn't work for me.
Yeah, because you seem like a tall dude.
I'm 193, and like literally I eat like 4,500 calories every day.
Holy shit! 193 centimeters?
Yeah. It's like 6'4".
So what is that? 6 foot something?
6'4".
6'4"? Damn,
Yeah.
bro. 6'4"? How much do you weigh?
Like 92 kilos.
92. See, I should know kgs, but I'm so brainwashed by the American system, which is real sad, because we use the metric system in Canada. So you're 200 and change, 202, 203.
I used to actually be like 113 kilos at my highest. So what I started doing, like when I started training, I was like 58 kilos or something, and like 180. So probably like 5'10", 5'9", something like that, out of the top of my head. Then I got like a little growth spurt, and I just started bulking for 5 years straight until I basically doubled my body weight.
Yo, that sounds like a YOLO bulk, bro. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
It was great though. Like I got a lot of strength and size, and like now I'm not really, I'm still training seriously, but in regards to just I want to like work as much as I can. So I used to be obsessed with like getting all my like tracking everything and like everything on the scale. And nowadays I just try to get my protein in, eat, like count in my head and just get to work because it takes too much time.
Yeah, I used to do that too. I used to track all my calories on that
Mhm.
app called MyFitnessPal, and I had
So
two food scales, and I would just weigh everything out. And at first, it was I loved it because you can find out exactly what your macros are and what
mhm.
you're intaking. But it became so tedious and time consuming that my wife was like, "What the hell are you doing? Like you're wasting. Like we don't have time for this shit, right?"
Mm.
Again, like I'm a lot older in life. I have a daughter, and we have another kid on the way. So it's like I don't have time to be weighing out how many grams of spaghetti is in this plate and counting all my carbohydrates and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But so what I did is I sort of dropped that whole thing and I adopted more of like an intermittent fasting routine where I
Mhm.
kind of just have water and black coffee in the morning, and
So
then I'll eat usually around 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. and start like a 7 to 8 hour window. And
I do
again,
exactly
even
the
for
same.
oh, you do the same
I
thing?
do exactly
That
the same thing.
it's more practical, right?
It's also like just like energy wise, like I don't eat, I can just get to work and like because I'm full in on this entrepreneur thing, so I can just just get like 5 hours of work and straight, and then I can get to eating.
Do you get those periods of it's almost like mental clarity where your energy is like this very consistent straight line for like 4 hours in the middle of the day and you just feel you don't feel supercharged but you just feel very good and very consistent with like the energy output that you have and that's like the feeling that I love that consistency. I don't have those
Yeah.
ups and downs and like you said those crashes
Mhm.
from taking carbohydrates and all that type of stuff. And that's why I really love like the balance in energy from that type of diet.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's exactly the same for me.
Mm. See what no when what I normally do is um I have like a very physical day job, so I'm still a slave basically to the corporate world, which kind of sucks. You know, it's
Mm.
something that I'm trying to get out of,
Mhm.
and my day job is very physical. Like I'm on my feet a lot. I'm driving around. I'm lifting heavy ass boxes up to like 100 pounds. So my body takes a beating on me like on a regular basis, and I've always found that whenever I had a protein rich lunch
Mhm.
with lots of vegetables, salad with like olive oil and avocado. So like very high protein, very high fat and a lot of like green vegetables. I
Mhm.
feel amazing. I can hit my workout fine. I can go through a full day at work and I can get home at the end of the night and then I feel okay. And usually that's when I kind of up my carbs. I guess if I had potatoes or if we had rice or like whatever for dinner that my wife would make, I would just generally consume. But this idea of fasting, protein with fats and vegetables, it just you feel amazing for like 16 hours of the day.
Yeah, that can totally relate. Also, like really, what we were talking about, basically, like I'm very blessed to be able to like have found like this self-development things like at my age. Like I can just even like if this business wouldn't have worked or still maybe wouldn't work, and I could just go back to my parents basically, and I don't have like a kid to take care of, and like yeah, very blessed.
No, that's good, man. It's I'm glad to see like young people that are ambitious and like getting after it, you know, and trying to do something. And I'm a little envious, to be perfectly honest, you know, because older people they'll never admit it, but they're always jealous of people that are younger because they're jealous of their youth, they're jealous of their time, and they're jealous of their age, right? And
Yeah,
those are years and time that I can't get back. However, the mistake that they make with their mindset is that they can't let them hold you can't let that hold you back from doing something better today.
for
So
sure.
right now I try to maximize all the best years that I have left. So right now I'm 37, so I got 3 more years till I'm 40, right? So I'm going to make the best of these next 3 years and get the most out of my life that I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I find it very frustrating when I talk to people sort of in the older generation, I guess you would say, because it's almost as if like there's like a mental block. And there's this idea that, oh, the internet and social media and entrepreneurship, oh, it's not a real job. So go get a real career. I'm like, well, maybe in 1995 or something, but this is 2020, right? This is
for sure.
completely different. And these jobs that you can get on the internet, they're more than viable, right? And I just love hearing young people going after their dreams.
For sure. I heavily agree. Also, like, you know, like 37 is not that old. Like, people, it's more like an excuse, basically. You know, like, you could just say, okay, well, I'm already wasted these years, so now it's over and I'll just rot away. But in reality, like, by the time that we are, you know, like 80 and 90, like 90 will probably be a feasible age to reach. And so, like, you're not even on like half yet. So there's there's a whole lot to do. And I don't know, like Gary Vaynerchuk, I listen to him a lot, and he always speaks about like how good he still feels and still feels like 20 basically. You probably do the same, I would hope at least, but you know, you have like great like health and it seems like so.
Hmm. Yeah, it took me a while. Like to be perfectly honest, I didn't have the best health when I was in my late teens and early 20s. Like I said earlier, I
Hmm.
just ate anything and I just ate shit. And I was just like, I was basically poisoning myself. You're
Yeah.
poisoning your body, but just consuming candy and chocolate and drinking Coca-Cola all the time. Like you're just consuming like poison. Like that's
Hmm.
what you're really doing.
Yeah.
But now one of the biggest benefits that I've got from all this type of stuff is the combination of everything. It's a combination of the workouts with the fasting, with doing work that gives
Hmm.
me purpose and doing what I love. All of those things, I think that's what amounts to vitality,
For
right?
sure.
This idea of bettering your life, and not only bettering your life, but whatever years I have left, I want high quality life in those years, right?
Yeah.
And you can't get that unless you put some effort in, right?
Sure.
So that's what I'm generally obsessed about with this whole, bettering my life and being more healthy.
Hmm. I love how you talked about like your why basically giving your vitality. Like that's so important. I feel like once you have a big enough why, there's like you'll get energy out of like anything basically.
Hmm. You know what else I did too? I completely changed the way I work out. I used to be obsessed with the powerlifting
Hmm.
style where you do squats, deadlifts, bench press, like the big three, right?
For
I
five
was
years, I
really,
was the same.
yeah, I love that. I love that style of lifting
Mhm.
because there's that progression. You can hit those
Yeah.
PRs and you're getting stronger and it feels good, right? It feels awesome. It's like you're achieving something.
Mhm.
But what I realize is that I read this idea from this doctor I don't know if he's still in Toronto, but I think he was a Canadian guy. His name is Peter Attia, and he's been on like the Joe Rogan podcast. And he's like this super brilliant guy that swam all around the UK, I think. But anyways, he had this concept of it was like senior Special Olympics or something, and I was like, what the hell is that? And he's like, the type of exercises you want to train for are the ones that you will use and make sense when you're 90. And so he was talking about squatting in a position with your hands out like this, because when you're older, you're going to squat down and want to pick up your grandchild, right? So this practicality of the squatting movement with your hands down is very practical because that's what you're going to use.
Mhm.
And then secondly, he said, is you want to practice not just pull-ups, but just hanging from the bar, because one of the biggest causes of death, or at least in North America, is old people slipping and falling and not having enough grip strength to grab a railing or grab the kitchen countertop or the stove handle or whatever. And this idea of building core strength in your legs to squat, having good grip strength, and if you were to fall, being able to do a push up and get yourself back up and call for safety. Like those are the three things that you want to train for, because that is what is practical in old age. And that's sort of like blew my mind, right? So I sort of dialed it back a little bit on the deadlifting, squatting, and bench pressing, which it really hurt my ego because I love that stuff, right? But I'm trying to be smart at the same time because like I said, I'm not that young buck that can recover, from benching
Yeah.
190, which for me 190 is like my PR right now on the bench, but which probably might be sad for you.
I, I was gonna say I suck at benching, but I do bench a little bit more. But yeah, slightly. I'm like obsessed with like power. I still need to get out of that. Like I need to get like out through the phase of like getting my ego to be able to drop it. I had like a deadlift PR last week, so I'm still like.
Oh yeah, what would you hit?
Like 550, I think. So 560.
Oh
something.
shit!
But deadlift is good.
550?
The rest is eh.
Damn,
Yeah.
550. Wow, that's awesome. Holy shit! I think the most I ever did was 3 plates plus 25. So what
like
is that?
360,
360,
370,
365?
380, something like that.
Yeah, I was working up to 405. I tried 390 once, and I was close, so I was getting there. But then COVID hit, and over here in Canada, all the gyms closed, everything locked down. So I couldn't deadlift anymore. But luckily for me, I built like a home gym in my garage. So downstairs in my garage, I have adjustable dumbbells that go up from 10 pounds to 90, and I have an incline adjustable bench. So I can still do, get a pretty good workout and exercise in, but I can't really do those core powerlifting movements that I love, and I miss it to be perfectly honest.
When the first wave basically hit, and like in the Netherlands, the first like day gyms closed, I literally just immediately scoured the internet and spent basically like a large chunk of my savings and just bought like all the equipment and like a few hundred kilos of weights and I invited all my friends to like work out at my grandparents where I lived at the time. So yeah, I was able to maintain luckily, but that's very rough. But anyways, like also it for sure you're so right. It's like all about like ego, or I guess it also like achievement. It is kind of cool, but as far as longevity, it's completely useless to do any of those things.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because there's lots of practicality in building strength, right? It's good to be strong as a man, especially later on, if you're doing some type of renovation on your house or like whatever, something practical, right? But at the same time, like you don't want to push it too hard and get that mentality of like, oh, I want to be as strong as I can. I want to bench 3 plates and all this craziness. Like for me, I wanted to hit that standard benchmark of 2 plate bench press. Like for all men, that's basically like the standard. If you can't bench 2 plates, it's like there's this idea out there that you're a pussy and that you're weak, because that's a real man's bench is the 2 plates, right? And I wanted that I wanted it so bad. Like I was so desperate just to have that sense of validation, like I was putting all this time in the gym and I wanted to be validated, right? In that way. But it was very difficult for me to kind of drop that pursuit, and I still struggle with it at times, because on Instagram I'll scroll through Instagram, I'll see these dudes just like benching monstrous weight, and I get all hyped up. I'm like, oh man, I want to bench 2 plates, but I think that's in my past now.
I also just feel like, looking like this when I'm 60 or 70 or something is like the goal. I don't know if you know Tom Platz. He's like
Tom Platz sounds familiar.
He's like known for his legs, basically, like the best legs in like all of bodybuilding history, basically. And he still has like very, very big legs, and he's like 70 or 75 or something now, and he like that's basically my goal, except without the steroids. But yeah, other than that.
Yeah, steroids, that's a rough one. Like I don't have any education or knowledge on steroids, so whenever there's something I don't really know anything about, I kind of just always avoided it, because I know people always say like, oh yeah, there's all these health risks with steroids and all this, but I never really looked into it, so I just kind of stayed ignorant to it and just avoided it the best I could, and I just try to stay away from that whole world. But I see why people go down that path, right? Because they have that obsession of they want to get bigger, they want to become the best, and unfortunately you kind of need steroids in those bodybuilding competitions, right?
Well, also, okay. So to make it like at the big ones, but I'm kind of considering to do like natural bodybuilding like in the future, which is like a lot more cooler, I think. And I've also like considered taking steroids in the past, but it's just like so not worth it. And even like if you just put in the work for like 5 or 10 years, okay, that sounds like a long ass time, but like it's you're also at least you're not like sacrificing 5 to 10 years. Let's put it that way. And like I'm literally in my dream body now, and I didn't need anything, just good diet and dedication, and yeah. For anyone
Mm-hmm.
listening, don't do it. Basically,
Yeah, it's tough because people don't really understand like how hard it is to to use a muscle protein synthesis and build muscle as a natural. Like it takes a lot of time.
yeah.
Like and it's if you don't lift, then you don't really understand because or at least for me personally, in my experience, I hit so many plateaus
Mm.
when I was lifting. Like so many. Like for me, squatting 315 and benching 185 were like huge plateaus for me. That for no, not squatting 315, deadlifting 315.
Mhm.
Yeah, that and squatting was 2 plates and change. I can't remember, but whatever. I had like these three major plateaus in my career as like a natural lifter, and it's very difficult, man. You
Yeah,
have to stay like so disciplined. You have to have like a proper weight training plan that has like proper periodization
mm,
and rest and all this different type of stuff, right?
yeah,
And it's like you got to be serious. Like you got to be almost all in and into that world.
for sure. Yeah, that is definitely like I've been training for 6 years now, and 4 years of that was obsessed, like just everything in my power to optimize, no drinking, like always. At one point, I slept 10 hours a night, like training 6 days
Oh
a week,
wow.
like 4,000, or like 5,000 calories at some point, and like yeah, it takes like a lot out of you. But on the other hand, it's also like right now I'm still training seriously for a normal person, but for me, it's like basically like playing around in comparison with how I used to train. So, and I can
Mm,
maintain my body very well at this point. So it's not like you have to do it forever. Once I'm at this point, I can just keep my protein on point, have some principles basically that I plan my diet around, but it doesn't have to be like this constant obsession basically.
mm-hmm. Yeah, the no alcohol one, it's very and no fast food is
Yeah,
very difficult in social settings
for sure.
because I don't know about you, but all of my friends are just like kind of like normal people, right? If it's a birthday, we're having cake and ice cream. If it's a party, someone's gonna order like 3 pizzas or fried chicken. Like it's just I don't know if it's like that where you live, but in Canada, it's almost the same as the states. It's just this idea of fast food is just normal, and drinking alcohol is just normal. Eating shitty food is just part of what people do here, and it's very difficult when you're trying to stay disciplined and stay away from that stuff because your friends will be like, "What the hell are you doing, bro? You don't want to drink? Like you're just drinking water or you're drinking club soda, right?"
Yeah,
Like it's tough, man.
yeah.
It's tough.
No, I've heard those people out of my life, to be honest. So that was my solution to that. But like, just surround yourself with the same like-minded people. But granted, I do drink now some days, but like I'll still like once a month or something. So that's
Mm.
still
You,
pretty good, I guess.
when I drink, I drink when I do the podcast. When I have someone on that's like one of my friends
Hmm.
or someone that I've known for a long time and we just want to get silly and just talk shit. Like that's when I drink. Or when like I'm with my brother and my dad for Christmas or a birthday party or
Yeah.
something. Then I'll drink. But other than that, like when I'm alone at home on a day-to-day basis, I have zero cravings for a beer. I don't even have a thought
Yeah.
about alcohol. It doesn't even come into my mind because it's something that I've identified as I just don't do. And for whatever reason, I don't really enjoy casual drinking anyway. So it wasn't something that I'd like to do. So why do it when I'm at home, right? So it's
Yeah.
something that I just kind of cut out of my life. But I do see it as beneficial in terms of like a social lubricant. It kind of loosens you
Yeah,
up. You have more fun at the party, and like if you're spending time like with your parents and your friends, like you want to have a good time, right? So in those situations, I'll have like a couple of drinks, right, and try not to get too hammered.
yeah, yeah, for sure the same. I've never been drunk in my life, so that's something I'm not planning on doing now.
Oh wow, you're super disciplined, bro. Never, not once.
No, not a single time. But yeah, like, but
Oh.
even like as a when I was 16 or something, I wasn't really. Well, I started my journey at 16, but before that, like, I wasn't very disciplined. But just lucky I did not get into that going that far. Basically,
Mm.
I
Man, you
did
young
like.
guys are disciplined.
I also just replaced like alcohol with weed at the time, so it's not like I'm an angel.
Mm. Well, that's like, I know they like to get kind of lumped in together, but I feel like that's completely different because it doesn't have like calories, right? Like
No, like.
unless you're eating like a brownie or
Mhm.
something,
Yeah,
edibles.
yeah, for sure. No, it's like I would argue that it is way better, but I'm also biased, so don't cut me on that.
Mm.
Like, for sure, it's also like it doesn't really give you a hangover, and like, yeah, it doesn't.
Oh
It
yeah,
like
that's
no
true.
calories. So for in general, like for strength gains, I think it doesn't really matter that much. So and muscle gain, maybe slightly, but yeah, and alcohol is
Mm.
like really terrible for that. So it's at least a better alternative. But like nowadays, I'm like completely clean as well, and it's like yeah, just anything like that you use on a consistent basis to basically like how you say it, like numb yourself, I guess, is just not worth it, and it's just gonna take away from your goals. And yeah,
Hmm.
that's how I feel.
I could almost argue that marijuana could be a benefit because there's a couple times like I got like barbecued and then I went and worked out.
Mhm.
And when you're on a high, you have that very sensitive physicality where you can almost feel the hairs
Yeah.
on your arm. And then I remember I was doing lat pull down,
Mhm.
and I was working on my mind and muscle connection, where I was thinking about squeezing and contracting my lats, and I could like feel my lats. I was like, oh my god, this feels like I could feel. It was so different because I was like so sensitive from the marijuana, right,
Yeah.
from the weed, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then I read up about people that practice jujitsu.
Mhm.
They like to smoke marijuana all the time before they roll because again they get that body sensitivity. They can really feel their body. It's almost as if it gives you an advantage.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's so interesting because I never thought of it that way before.
I in the time when the lockdown, I was literally like smoking very frequently before training with my best friend who I was my gym buddy until I traveled here and started living here. But yeah, it is for that it is actually amazing. But yeah, again, it's kind of and then the rest of the day you're not productive, so there's some downside to it. But
Oh
definitely
yeah,
if you want to
oh
like
yeah.
increase
So
your like muscle, like how like you can feel your muscles and stuff, like it's worth a try, I guess.
mhm. So when you said you moved to Georgia,
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
So did you move by yourself? Like what was the decision there?
So it was very like in a month I decided basically that I was gonna move here. So I basically had like my entire foundation for my business set up, and I just had to like do the last things with my mentor and also just going through things myself. And I met a girl in the Netherlands. She was gonna move here or move here, but like she was a nomad, and I just went here with her. Basically, very bad decision, sort of, but it was a pretty damn good decision. It was more so that I just really wanted to get out of my parents' house, basically, and just start living on my own, and basically be able to not have like very scared thoughts, basically stop my mindset, basically, and like there was like a lot of doubt at my parents' place, and they meant it very well because they're just doing the corporate thing and they're good at it, and it's safe and sure you're going to be rich when you're 60, but that's not what I'm planning to do. Uh, yeah, so that was basically one of the things. And also I just want to go full on my business, and it's way cheaper here to live, so it's a good place to basically get started and do everything. And yeah, I was gonna go here and maybe move again in a month, maybe to Thailand or something, and keep traveling. But I was here for a month, and I met a girl here, and literally just love it here. And the people are amazing, and the temperature is pretty amazing. So that just turned into me getting this apartment for the next 6 months.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Hey, don't speak about temperature. I'm gonna get jealous. I live in near Toronto.
Yeah.
It's like it was snowing today. This morning it was snowing.
It was here 2 weeks
It's
ago as well.
April.
Crazy.
I hate it. It's so it's the worst, man. It's like you know what's interesting about that is back when I was younger,
Mhm.
I think around your age I actually quit university and started my own business. So I was an entrepreneur for a long period of time, and it was playing online poker. But what happened is a lot of my friends
Mhm.
moved to Thailand because the currency, the I think it's called the baht
Yep.
or the bon or
About.
something like
Yeah.
that. It's yeah, the baht. When you convert it from either euros or US dollars or Canadian, it is unbelievably cheap. And I had a lot of friends that made that jump where they went to a different country and then they pursued their business because the cost of living is a lot smaller.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, I never wanted to do that, and I always just kind of stayed here in Canada. And I kind of got punished because the cost of living now in Canada is unbelievable. It's so crazy. Like even right now, this room that I'm in, like this is my house that
Mhm.
me and my wife we own, and we literally just sold it like last week. And this used to be my office where I had all my stuff, and now I got like pillows and shit all over the place because people have been coming in the house every day, and I've been trying to sell my house. And I'm like, man, I wonder what would have happened if I was brave enough to move to a different country and not be scared of change in order to get a better opportunity, because that is extremely difficult for people to do because there's so much uncertainty,
Yeah.
and especially from your parents, right? They're going to be worried
They
for you,
couldn't
right? They're
sleep.
going to be like, well,
It was pretty bad.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's very hard to make that decision, but I always like kind of regretted not at least trying it.
Mhm.
So now that I hear that you took the leap of faith, like that's awesome, and I love that you embraced like that challenge and you weren't scared to go ahead and take that first step.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, I did discuss it like with my mentors. I was I had like someone in my back corner who was like in the same field, and basically did the same like decision. And I always consult with people who are in my circle, and I feel like I have built a pretty decent circle of like intelligent people by now, and it just felt like a good decision. And that's also literally what I'm coaching people on, like stepping outside of your comfort zone and just being fearless and doing like making growth decisions instead of I say this in English, like what's the opposite of growth? Shrinking decisions. I don't know how I say
Shrinking.
this, but you
Oh
get what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so literally I felt like this was a growth decision and went for it, and it turned out amazing. So
Wow. So you have, what'd you say? So you have a lease for 6 months
yeah.
with your current place.
Hmm. Yes, I
So
want
what's the plan after that?
hopefully get a much nicer place if the money allows for it. But yeah, like I don't think I'm gonna leave here for now. So yeah,
Mm,
it's yeah, I don't really see a reason to get out here because, well, also if things are gonna go with my girlfriend, I'm gonna be here for quite some time. But in general, like yeah, it's very terrific here, and just cost of living is way lower. And also, taxes wise, it's I still have to relocate my business, but it's either 1% or 15%. So yeah,
wow.
it's literally. And in the Netherlands, I'm currently registered in the Netherlands, but I'd have to pay like up to like 40%. So, or
40%.
even more. Yeah,
Damn.
ridiculous amounts.
Wow, that's crazy. Holy.
Yeah.
So what is Georgia like? I know Georgia's close to
Yeah.
Russia, I think, what's the language, and do they use a euro dollar? Like how is it like over there?
Yeah, so they speak Georgian here. They also have like their own alphabet, so I'm getting through there. Like I know like most of the alphabet by now. But
Oh shit.
most of them speak either Russian, like the older generation usually speaks Russian, and the younger generation can speak English. So it is a bit
Oh,
difficult,
I
like
see.
communicating here with people, but like the people my age can usually speak English, or at least the ones who are, like in university and more educated and
Hmm.
entrepreneurs. There's also like a big community of entrepreneurs here because the cost of living is very good and it's great for entrepreneurs, kind of like Thailand 2.0, I guess. Yeah,
Oh,
and they
that's
have
interesting. But you
the
stay
large.
within Europe.
What I say?
But you stay within Europe, right?
No, like I'm literally like living here now. So that's like because this is not inside Europe anymore.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's like on the
Oh, really?
basically it's like Russia, Ukraine, and they have like the sea, and then it's like Georgia. So I'm also kind of like I get like email like messages from my parents about like every other week that like Russia is gonna invade my ass, but we'll see.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
shit.
So I hope that Putin does not like destroy this beautiful like gem in the middle of nowhere that I found.
Oh, okay, I see. Because it's interesting. I really enjoy geography. I can probably name almost all the countries in
Mhm.
Europe, but I always thought Georgia was more north, kind of close to Belarus and Lithuania or something. But it's all the
No.
way down by Turkey.
Yeah, it's like
I never knew
Turkey,
that.
like Azerbaijan, Armenia. That's like
Yeah.
the surroundings.
Oh wow. Well, there shows my ignorance. Shit. Damn.
Well,
That's cool. I'm just looking
happens.
at Google Maps right now. I'm just trying to get a
Mm.
idea of where the heck you're living. Holy shit. So you're like below Russia, but above Armenia and Azerbaijan and Turkey.
Yeah,
And you're in this city, Tbilisi. How do you
yeah,
say that?
Tbilisi. Right.
Tbilisi?
Yeah,
Tbilisi? Huh. Oh, I see the alphabet stuff
mm.
that you're talking about. It looks very strange.
Yeah, yeah. It's very like I like it a lot, but it is gonna take some time to get used to.
Oh, that's so cool. Damn. I don't know. I find that super interesting. Wow, Georgia. Who would have known?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just getting sidetracked. I love geography.
Mm.
I used to do all these stupid world geography tests all the time online, where to try to name every country in Europe under 5 minutes or
Mm.
whatever. And it was something that I love to do because part of my background is European. My dad is Austrian and Italian, so like I've been to like Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Austria, like that whole like area, I guess you would say, because like my dad's family still is all in Europe. He's the only one that came here in Canada, so like I've always had this affinity for European culture and just like the geography in general, because it's so different than North America. North America, you can go to the US or go to Canada, and that's pretty much it. But when you're in Europe, you can go like all over the place. There's like different countries everywhere you go, and that's so awesome. I find that so interesting.
Yeah, that's totally good.
Damn, bro. Well, hopefully everything works out in Georgia and Putin doesn't invade your ass. Shit.
Yeah, we're gonna see.
Are
Yeah.
the people there worried? Like, what's the vibe there like in the country?
At least not as much as my parents. It seems like
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. Like currently there's like a lot of like Russian people coming here uh, to like live, and that's yeah. So I think that's like the main thing that you're noticing. So like few Ukrainian people as well, but mainly like Russian people who just want to get out of the country and yeah, basically
Oh,
start
okay. I
life
see.
somewhere else.
Yeah, because that whole situation, it's tough. Like again, I don't really know anything politically, about like what's really going on. Like I kind of don't understand the whole thing, but what I see on the news and what I see from just reading random articles, it seems very sad, and it feels like Ukraine is like in this very tough position based on where they're located geographically, right? It's just
Yeah.
it's just kind
It's in the
of
middle of
tough
shit.
where they are, right?
Yeah.
So is any Ukraine people coming into Georgia?
Yeah, I think I've heard of it, but I'm not sure like how much sense, it's kind of like a big sea between. So I don't know, like maybe do they even fly? I don't know, but I think there is some Ukrainian people here as well. But
Oh, okay.
I assume
Well,
like
so
most
sorry to
people are
get
more
the
going towards Europe.
yeah,
Got
yeah,
like all
yeah.
political.
I didn't mean to get the conversation sidetracked with geography, but I just find it super interesting that you went from the Netherlands, because the Netherlands is not close to Georgia. It's like all the way, like on the complete other side, right? It's way
Yeah.
west.
Mhm.
Like, was there any other countries that you were looking at, or was it only Georgia?
Thailand. But then I was like, like Georgia would be a good like, it's halfway basically, so it would be like less like travel time. So that's okay. That's basically what I was thinking.
Oh, like if you were to visit your parents.
No, I mean like if I didn't like it here, I could have just like continued to Thailand basically. Like I would already be halfway once I'm here. I mean,
Hmm. Yeah, I went to Thailand a couple years ago. It's a very interesting country. It's I don't know how to describe it. I didn't fully enjoy the whole, because the way they do things there, everything is about kind of bartering, right? You barter for prices, and you negotiate for everything, and everything is so it's so different because it's all in cash, and the technology hasn't really caught up, I guess you would say, and like restaurants are like on the sidewalk, which seems so crazy to me, but it was a lot of fun. Like I had a lot of fun in Thailand, but it was mad hot. It was like so humid and crazy hot over there. I don't know if I could I don't know if I could make it. That's like I'm going from one extreme and like cold all the time to going super hot, but I don't know.
yeah.
That's just how I feel.
Mm. Here it's like very very warm as well in the summer, but I'm just gonna go back to Europe in like July and August, and then it should be fine.
Oh, I have one another question I just realized. So
Mhm.
when you moved to Georgia and then you kind of like relocate your business,
Mhm.
do you have to get like a visa for a certain period of time? Like how does that immigration
And
work?
they're like very very smooth here because they want to get us like a lot of like entrepreneurs from like different countries in and like stimulate the economy basically. So you can like register your company here without having like a residency here. But I do think you need like maybe you need like an address here, but then you can get like a virtual address basically at like like the companies that offer that service basically. And then that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
300 per
I
year
use
or
that
something.
for
So
okay, I see. Wow, that's cool. So they encourage entrepreneurs to come in, to bring the money in the business
yeah.
and stimulate the economy.
hmm
I see. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
and
pretty
then how
awesome.
it works is like here you get like the 1% rule, but consultants are exempt from that. So that's why I'm not sure if I'm gonna get like 1% or 15%, but I have a tax consultation in 3 days, so we're gonna find out. Um, but it's like 1% for up to 165,000 euros per year, so or dollars. So you can make like a like pretty good income here, and then it's like 2% above, and once you're over that amount 2 years, then you have to start paying like 15 to 20%. So it's very yeah,
Wow.
a good reason to cover.
That's amazing. I've never heard about Georgia being so like great for entrepreneurs. 'Cause this is something that I'm super interested in. I'm always like thinking about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And man, like I've heard of Thailand, and places like other countries that use currency like that are like the pesos they're very cheap.
Mhm.
Like those type of countries are also great to live in. But in terms of like tax benefits and tax breaks, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Holy, that's because that hard-earned money that you're making, you keep that. It's not like
everything
someone,
basically, except for like VAT, and that's about it.
damn, bro, that's man. why we gotta pay so much taxes over here? We just get slaughtered. We
Yeah.
got slaughtered, bro. Even just moving, like the other week I purchased a new house, and Canada has like a land transfer tax, and every time
Hmm.
you switch ownerships of properties, they get a cut, and it's like
Hmm.
$30,000. And I'm like, for what? I gotta pay the government 30 grand just because
So you
me
can,
and some dude are switching houses? I'm like, what? That's
crazy.
so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's
oh
actually
my
just like, yeah,
god.
for whatever possible, they find a reason to tax, like, just, yeah, the most stupid stuff.
Yeah, it's hard too because the Canadian government is not very generous to entrepreneurs.
Mm.
In the past, when I was trying to get like pre-approved from a bank for like a mortgage to buy a house,
Mhm.
like they looked at my, I guess you would call it like side hustle income, like entrepreneurial income. They're like, what the hell is this? Like, well, like what company do you work for? It's like, oh, I work for myself. Like, oh, that's not guaranteed income. Like, you need to work for a company. We're not going to give you a loan. I'm like, well, how do you expect entrepreneurs to thrive in North America if you don't support them financially,
Yeah,
right? Like that
crazy.
thinking to me is so backwards. Whereas Georgia, I feel like they're very progressive in the way they think about the future in terms of
I think they
economics. Like
have to
that's a
be,
very smart
basically.
financial decision.
Yeah, for sure. But that's I think
Mm.
that's what you see in like most like more like older, because this country is not very developed in like comparison. I Before I got here, I didn't realize I've only been to like rich countries, so I came here and this was a bit of a culture shock. But like I think in general, like most like more, yeah, developing countries, they really have to basically think in this way to basically get back on track and really like like, yeah, stimulate the economy and stuff. And meanwhile, like I think in Western countries, like things are not going that well in general.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been really rough over here in the West because as you can tell, like the U.S. has all kinds of
Yeah.
problems, right? Like America has tons of problems, and Canada is like their little brother,
Hmm.
right? Like America protects us, and we kind of back them up the best we
Yeah.
can. And there's like the way we do things in the West is like it's great. Don't get me wrong. This whole idea of freedom and how I love how Canada is multicultural. Like I love that. Like I have neighbors that are Polish and African and Filipino and from Brazil. Like you got all people from all walks of
Yeah.
life in Canada, and there's almost as if like the Canadian ethnicity, it almost barely doesn't even exist anymore because we're just made up of every other country's
Hmm.
population, right? So it's a little bit weird, but at the same time, like I complain a lot about it, but I do love it. Like I do love the diversity. And again, because it's something that I kind of grew up
Yeah.
in. And I was someone who grew up mixed
Hmm.
as a child, and I always struggled with like self identity issues and racial problems and all this kind of weird
Hmm.
stuff. And I feel like people in the West, we kind of take that for granted at times. Like we take the freedoms and liberties that we have over here and the opportunities we have, like we take it for granted, and all we do is
Yeah.
complain. So I try to take a step back from time to time and check myself whenever I find myself bitching about too many things.
Hmm. Perfect. Cool.
Yeah, but Georgia sounds like a great place, dude. Good
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah, for sure. But it's also like, there's downsides there as well. Like there's a lot of like homeless people and like a lot of stray dogs as well. I'm constantly like walking around and like close to picking like random dog like in my house. But like there's probably like 20 dog like 20 dogs in probably like a 500-meter radius for me, like just running around. So there are like some issues, but in general, like the people are very kind. And yeah, there's
Yeah, like if the people are great, like that's half of it,
yeah,
right? Like you want to live in a community where like the people vibe with
yeah,
you, right? Like people that are nice,
hmm,
and yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome, man. That sounds like a great
hmm,
place. Sad for the dogs
yeah,
though.
very. Also, like
Oh
language
man,
is
because
kind of
I
an issue. Like most people are not that great at English. So,
so are you learning Georgian?
slowly, like I'm more focused on my business right now, but I do plan on like learning a lot more. Right now, it's very, very basic, and the alphabet I know
Hmm.
most.
So your business, you do deal with mostly like English
Yeah,
speaking clients. Like what does your business look like? Like North American people?
yeah, like just you basically like English speaking countries. So right now I'm more focused on like UK, America, Canada, or United States, New Zealand, Australia, basically. That's
Okay, so that's like your
Yeah,
demographic.
and then like here as well, because there's a lot of like international entrepreneurs, I can go to like the co-working spaces and events and stuff, and I can like find like people here as well. But yeah, mainly through the internet, it's more yeah like North America and yeah mostly.
Hmm. You know what's interesting about that? Like I go through my YouTube analytics
Mhm.
and I always look at like who's watching my stuff. Like and I always assume it's the US and it's always US is like half of my audience generally. And then New Zealand, like all the England, the main English speaking countries, like you said, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and the UK are up there. But I've noticed that there's this ever growing viewership of people from India. It's been like in the beginning it was very small on my channel, but now it's like up to like 11%. It's very high and it's kind of coming out of nowhere, and I find that very interesting. And it's also India has like a massive like population of people,
Yeah.
right? And then I saw this thing where Mr. Beast, like Mr. Beast on
Mhm.
YouTube, he was talking about how he's converting all his YouTube videos into Hindi, dubbed over in their language because the population of India is so massive. So like that is like a potential huge pool of customers that you could reach. And I was like, man, that's such a brilliant business idea. And then I thought about that and I was like, should I pay someone to put Hindi subtitles for my YouTube videos? And I was like thinking about that, right? I'm like, should I do that?
You're getting my entrepreneur brain running as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like you always want to find a market that you can
Yeah.
satisfy, right? And I'm always trying to think like because again like I'm my as you saw with my YouTube channel, I'm trying to build this like self improvement business or
Mhm.
whatever. And I did get my channel monetized and it makes like a small amount of
Mhm.
money every month. Like it's I don't know like maybe like $50 or something. So it's not like I can live off this type of income. So I still have to do keep the day job, but at the same time, I'm still like looking like who needs a solution, who has a problem, what can I solve, what value can I
Yeah.
add to the industry. And I'm always trying to think like you said with that entrepreneurial brain, and I feel like that's something I need to get better at.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Like that. Well, that is the key, I guess. Like like if you can create value to the marketplace, that's literally all
Mm.
you have to do.
Yeah. So when it comes to your
Mhm.
business, what's like do you have like a end game goal? Like you have a big goal? Like what's the grand vision here with what you're trying to do?
The grand vision is very grand, but so currently what I'm doing is literally like one-on-one coaching, and that's basically the only service that I provide, and it's very much targeted on entrepreneurs. And that's like from anywhere from like like mainly more like small business owners or people who are like in the first years and uh, a bit more experience as well, like small teams. But what I'm thinking more long term, once I get more experience and I get the team, I really want to like build out and focus more on like high achievers in general. So there could be like business like leaders or leaders in general and entrepreneurs as well, but also athletes and really just anyone who is a high achiever, and build really like an ecosystem out for that. And that is really like a long-term vision that I have in mind, and with basically like layers of that I have like a big team of coaches, and then another layer of coaches who basically mentor those people and really like build like a vision forward of just not like not letting life run by and basically how to say this, like getting lived. And well, basically what my business does, like thrive in business and in life, like just thriving in life instead of like letting life happen to you.
I love that. That's awesome. Do you have any goals for making like a physical office, like building one of those type of things?
Considering it, but that's also like I I'm kind of on the fence on that because you know it is kind of good to have. I was actually thinking of like long term like Vancouver because I've been to Canada and I love
Yo,
Canada.
Vancouver, let's go, bro.
So yeah, there's yeah one of my favorite places. But so yeah, I
Mm.
might consider like getting an office because yeah, the one-on-one like real life thing is pretty important. But I also really want to uh, give like I'm already thinking like if you know I basically escaped the office stuff and like working for other people so I could like travel the world and just be free and I want to give my like employees the same. I if I am gonna build like a big business, I would want to have like every person in that business basically be their own entrepreneur. Like it doesn't really make sense to have like a traditional structure. I think going forward, like you would need to basically have like entrepreneurial type of like you know entrepreneurial minded people in your business to really push your business forward. So I think they should get like entrepreneurial like type of opportunities as well.
Yeah, because the reason why I asked that question is because one of the best things about being an entrepreneur and the internet is the ability to work
Yeah,
remotely. And this is my personal opinion, but this idea of having a brick and mortar office where everyone has to congregate for meetings and you all have your laptops and you have some stupid whiteboard you put notes on, that shit's becoming
that for sure.
obsolete, man. And I think the freedom, if you can get that freedom and hold on to it, that's like the one of the best things about being an
Yeah,
entrepreneur. And it's hard because I have this like grand vision of creating this YouTube studio where I have all these editors and designers and people come in and we can like talk and
hmm
discuss and do all this like amazing stuff. Or I can just make an office in my home and work remotely, right? And I feel like there's like this weird trap where I'm trying to remind myself like the best thing about the internet and all this technology is the ability to work
yeah,
remotely. It is such an amazing thing because even like look at me, I have to drive into a company every day and work a shitty day job, right? Because I'm not a successful entrepreneur
hmm
yet, right? Well, I used to be, but like my old business died and then now I started this
hmm
new one, right? So I got stuck in the middle by just having to pick up a day job just to be able to pay bills,
hmm
right? But still, like I love the freedom. Like to me, that is the best thing about being an entrepreneur is working whenever you
yeah,
want, doing what you want, and not having some idiot tell you what you have to do on a day to
yeah,
day
for sure.
basis.
Yeah, that's why I think like yeah for like a business it would be even if I would have like an office, it'd be more like you know maybe either have like people meet like a few months per year or have like half of the week have people in there, but it doesn't really work because then people can't really travel. Like it is kind of you know there are some pros to the office, but it's kind of hard to like make it both of the like the remote and the office work, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, I read a great book. It was called Remote, and it basically laid out the scientific information about how working remotely not only makes people more
Hmm
productive, but it makes them infinitely more
Yeah,
happy. And when you have happy people or happy employees, that naturally will increase their performance
for
and their
sure.
output because they're engaged, they love what they do, they're happy, they're in a great place, and they'll be more than willing to go that extra mile for whatever project that you guys are working on. Whereas if you had some disgruntled employee that hates his life, that has to drive on the highway in traffic, that has to spend money on gas, like
Hmm
he's going to be miserable when he gets in the office, and he's less likely going to be willing to help you on whatever extra project that might take more time than normal, right?
Yeah,
And after reading this book called Remote, I was like, man, this is like it just laid out the idea of this mentality of remote working. It works. It works. It keeps people happy. It keeps people productive, and it's something that I wish more people had an opportunity to do because right now, we were talking about earlier, like I have a daughter.
hmm
Like it kills me when I have to leave my house knowing that my 2 year old is at home when I could be spending time with her,
yeah,
right? And at the end of the day, that's like a huge driving factor for me. And maybe it might not resonate with you, but if anyone that's older that's watching this who has a family and kids, they know exactly that pain that you feel in your heart when you have to leave your home.
Yeah. Yeah, like with
Yeah, not to get sentimental.
with the remote work, it's for sure very very interesting. I yeah, I kind of want to get like I kind of lost my train of thought. Never mind.
No, that's all good.
What were we talking about?
That remote work, your
Hmm.
business. Yeah, don't get sucked into being forced to get a brick and mortar office. If you know
Hmm.
what's funny, the house that I did buy, it has this little space where I'm gonna build a YouTube studio. And I'm gonna build like a proper podcasting studio, and it's gonna be. And I know people like some people laugh at me because that's my big dream and vision is to be like a full-time content creator because I used to do some freelancing jobs as a videographer. Like I have good video skills, editing skills. I did weddings and I did
Hmm.
commercials for companies and aquariums and shit, right? So I have like the skill base. But even though I have like a small channel with like 1,800 subscribers or whatever it has, my grand dream and vision is to be able to work remotely and have a studio where I can create content and do the work that I love and have more of these podcasts and interesting conversations with other creators. And then hopefully extrapolate and expand on this idea of positivity and helping other people. And like you said, you have a circle of people that sound very educated and knowledgeable that help you out with making important decisions in your life, right?
Yeah,
That's an amazing thing to have that I feel like a lot of young people don't have these days, right?
for sure. That's why, like, yeah, that's also it's very key. It's cool, man. Like that you're just building out like your vision. You know, like there's always gonna be like so many people who are gonna say like whatever. Especially, it's more difficult for you, I guess, because in my age, most people are more open-minded to this type of stuff because they're more familiar with it. But if you're like surrounded with more like older people, I'm pretty damn sure that they'll all be like not really understanding of the thing that you're doing. So it's much harder to
Mm-hmm.
like be like tunnel vision and just going in on your dream. So that's cool.
Yeah, you know what the worst is? Like I at my job, like I work at
Hmm.
FedEx, like the courier company. Most of the guys there are like 40,
Hmm.
50. And a couple of them, like they've recently found my YouTube channel and they think it's hilarious. Like they think it's fucking hilarious. They pull it up on their phone, right? And then they
Hmm.
show me. I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear myself talk. You know how
Yeah,
cringe that is? And they kind of make fun of me because they see that I'm trying to escape from where they
yeah.
are, right? And I try not to hold that as a grudge and hold it against them because they have that limited mentality of what they're doing is the only thing that can breed success. Whereas when they see me trying to better my life and trying to do things outside of the corporate nine
Hmm.
to five, it's almost as if they get a defensive and attack me. But I kind of take it in stride, and now I laugh when I go to work because I'm like, okay, one day when I leave, right, the joke will probably
Yeah,
be on you guys.
for
So, but
sure.
it's all good. It kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah, no, I totally can relate to that. It's also like you can't
Hey,
really
man.
like make like people like understand basically like you can't really like make them understand how it's going to work until you have actually accomplished it, and then looking back, maybe you can inspire some of those guys to start to take action.
Hopefully one day, that's a dream or
Yeah.
the goal. But damn, dude, we did over an hour. That was super awesome. Let's wrap this podcast up. That was a great conversation about entrepreneurship and random geography. But tell the people that's listening and watching this where they can find your work, YouTube
Mhm.
channel, website, all that type of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, so I literally just started creating content. So I'm not even sure yet if it's going to be like predominantly YouTube or more. I love writing, so I might just end up creating more Medium type content. But for sure, blog posts on Medium. It should be Jasper the Monk. You'll have it like in the podcast title, I guess, and then just wrapped like on like next to each other, basically. Same is on YouTube, and my website is beyondlivingcoaching.com, and we help ambitious entrepreneurs to thrive in business and in life um, through high performance coaching. And I think that's about it.
Oh, well said. I'll put links in the description of the YouTube video and also in the description for Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all that type of stuff. So, guys, check out Jasper's work. All the links will be there. And thanks, dude, for having this awesome
Thank you,
conversation.
sir.
All right, guys. Peace.
Bye.